The new chapter just dropped in the PTB. Well, yesterday. But I didn't even know that there was going to be a new chapter. I'm actually usually really excited for these things, waiting like a day or two before it, sitting checking every minute to see if it's come out. But I was just sitting there about 6 o'clock, and then after a game of Apex, I saw a notification from Ostarva saying, "Oh, new killer," and I was like, "Oh shit, new killer, okay." So in this video, I'm going to go over what I think of this entire new PTB, everything on it, and I'm just going to go sort of in order of some things here. I don't want to be just one of these behavior bad channels that have sort of come up recently, but I also don't want to just be an ass licker and just say positive about everything. Um, I gotta just say, overall, my thoughts on this PTB are positive. I actually think this is a pretty good looking update in a lot of ways. I mean, there are some negatives as usual, but overall, this seems a lot better than the past few updates. First thoughts, I'm just going to go over the wee blight changes here. Seem pretty good. His POV looks great now. He's taller than the survivors, as it should be. Uh, I saw Scott John saying he doesn't like that camera bobbing effect, but I actually think it looks really good. It looks a lot more realistic, and it's got a bit of weight to it, when it bobs up and down. I like it. I think they should keep it. But I could see why if people get motion sickness easily, they would remove that. When I saw that wee thing, it said collision was like made the same as killer's lunges. Initially, I thought that meant his lunge and his ability will now not slide off things. I thought you know how you could hit with blight and you can slide along objects during that lunge. I thought they removed that, but it turns out they just sort of mostly fixed his collision. He doesn't slide as much now. He still slides a wee bit, but he doesn't slide nearly as much as he used to. So overall, that's a great change. To be honest, blight's alright now. This isn't going to make him any stronger, but there's very little, like PC Blight, like I said, completely fine, no more changes needed. Console Blight needs a better turning rate, and that's pretty good for Blight, so positive so far. The Wraith change is also really good. I think base now, he roughly has the same speed as like a purple Windstorm add-on, and maybe a little bit more, which is just good. Uh, Essentially now with Wraith, you can just use other add-ons. You don't have to run Windstorm now. You can run other things like Swift Hunt and Bone Clapper and stuff like that. Wraith still isn't going to be that much stronger. People are saying this, oh, Wraith's top tier, Wraith high tier now. No. He's not really that much stronger. He's just going to feel a lot nicer and more fun to play that you can actually use different add-ons. Because you can have this Wraith in the game right now by just running double Windstorm, but it is pretty good now. Happy with that change. Wraith can still use buffs in different areas. His core issues of his ability to down isn't fixed, but everything else about him seems pretty good so far. Uh, happy with this change. Then we got the Decisive Strike nerf, also good. Uh, Still, I think it's going to be a bit too strong in the end game, because as you know, right now in the end game, you get unhooked and you have DS, you can just run out through the gates. There's nothing the killer can do. So I think it still needs a bit of tuning, but it still should be fine now. At least survivors can abuse it. Uh, so once again, another positive change. Nothing really negative so far. No new map and no new map reworks this time around, which is disappointing. I thought this would actually have a map this chapter, because we haven't had a map since Executioner. So I think a map would have been nice. But at the same time, if we're not gonna get a map, I thought that we would at least get some map reworks. But that's alright. At the end of the day, the map reworks are. I'm not a big fan of them anyway. I think they make the gameplay worse. Like the game is a terrible, terrible map. It already was bad, but now it's beyond shite. But that's alright. It's just a wee negative thing, but it is at least it's not going to make the game any better or worse than it already is. Now on to the actual like chapter, like the killer and survivor. I'll just go over the survivor real quick. Survivor's design is fine. Not much to go there. Her lore is alright. She does seem like a very likable character. I mean, she basically just let this boy get away with murder and stuff like that to save her career. So she's not a very nice person, to be honest. But you know, it's alright. I mean, I don't really mind. Survivors don't all have to be that saints. As for her perks, they're alright. They range from shit to mediocre. I'd say her most interesting perk is the one where you can get tokens for skill checks. Essentially, every time someone's hooked, your next skill check will do 3%. It will give you 3% instead of 1%. I think this could be buffed um, to just be actually a really good perk. I think a simple buff would just be instead of 1%, you get 2%, but make the stacks cap at 12. I'm not sure if it already does cap at 12, but you know, so if you had a 2% for 3 tokens, that'd be a 6% per skill check. Just so you can't get crazy things like I don't know, like 18 stacks, and then you can get like 40% of a gen done in one skill check. But you know, I think buffing it to 2% per token would actually make that a pretty good perk, especially with the type of hunch, which would give you another percent and guarantee a great skill check. Or does that stack out? No, yeah, wait, that's stack out. But either way, you know, it'd be good with stack out. Just buff the number a bit, and it would actually be a really solid perk. The other two are pretty bad. The one that hides your scratch marks when someone gets hit is pretty useless, to be honest. Uh, I don't really see the point that much. I guess maybe if someone takes a hit for you, then you can basically get away scot-free, assuming the survivor doesn't see you, or the killer even. But that's pretty situational, and even then, the killer could still just keep an eye on you. But if you are injured and someone takes a hit for you, then you can get away and leave no scratch marks. But it's still pretty bad. The exhaustion perk is fine. It's uh, it's not going to be great. It will really screw over a killer because it's going to be unexpected. Like a lot of the time, you will stun a killer, and instead of getting like a good bit of distance, you will get massive distance, like really big distance. But overall, I think you're probably still just better off with Dead Hard. You literally can't top Dead Hard as an exhaustion perk. It's just too strong. Nerf Dead Hard, and then these exhaustion perks will start being used more. But this one seems decent. I had like I actually had an idea for this exact perk. I said when you stun a killer, you get a sprint burst and a big exhaustion, and they actually made it. But it's so obviously someone's going to come up with that eventually. It's not a bad perk, but it's not great either. Now on to the killer. Positives and negatives about this killer. First of all, the design is okay, but the aesthetic I do not like. I don't think the aesthetic fits Dead by Daylight at all. Um, which I mean, people are, oh, Dead by Daylight's not a horror game. Yeah, but I mean, come on, it's not necessarily it is a horror game, but it's not that scary. But it's got an aesthetic, and this killer really just sticks out like a sore thumb. He's also just incredibly unintimidating, like it's a flamboyant K-pop star. Uh, I like if I saw this guy in real life, I could kick the shit out of him. But other than that, the design isn't really the biggest part. The biggest part is the power. And I can say that this guy is basically Old Legion 2.0. Not that strong, but super annoying to go against. Basically, he's just gonna get you down eventually. He's got 60 knives, takes 8 to injure you. He's just gonna spam the shit out of them until eventually you go down. And that's gonna be annoying for survivors because there's not much you can really do. He's just gonna come up to you, he's gonna start spamming his knives, he's gonna hit you a few times, and he's gonna run up to you again, he's gonna spam his knives, he's gonna hit you again, and eventually he's gonna get you. And there's not really much you can do about that. Um, so I'm gonna go for some things right now, I think just to his power, which would make him stronger, but also make him a little bit more skill based. First of all, make these ricochet blades base kit, but remove the laceration bonus, just as a new layer of skill, and it would just be a lot more fun. Next, make it so instead of 8 knives, it's 7. Just remove one. That's a wee bit of a buff, but I'll go into that later. Um, Make it so knives interrupt actions. If they're repairing, healing, open a gate, and they get hit by a knife, it should interrupt them like a clown ball. And then next, I want to make him 115, but when he pulls out a knife and he's in that little knife thrower mode, make him 110. This is just because he should be able to be okay in the chase without using that power, but when he pulls out the knife, he should get a wee bit of a penalty. Also, make this main ability when he fills up that meter, make it take less and make it last longer. At the minute, it only lasts like 8 seconds. It should last like maybe 12, and it should be on demand. Uh, you should be able to activate it, but at the minute, it just activates when you hit enough knives. It should fill the bar and you press a button to activate it. Because when you activate it, you're most likely just chasing someone or you just down someone with your ability, and now it's basically useless. So with all of those buffs in mind, I'm going to try and change some things to make him a wee bit more skill based. So at the minute he is a base of 60 knives. Reduce this to 40. 60 knives at the minute, you've way too much leeway to just miss as many knives as you want, and you'll still probably end up downing someone. So reducing this to 40 would make it so people just kind of spam the shit out of knives, and then eventually just down you. And then reduce the fire rate by 10%. Just make them throw them a wee bit slower, just so, like I said, you can't just spam a shit ton of knives and eventually get you. Just he's going to get a lot of complaints from survivors. You need to, like I said, give him those buffs and then give him those nerfs just to make him more skill based. Overall, he'll be a lot stronger, but he'll feel a lot better to play against and to play. His perks aren't very good. Starstruck seems to be getting a lot of attention. It's not very good. It's basically every 3 downs with this 90-second cooldown. It's going to be roughly every 3rd down. People get exposed. It's just way too situational, and to be honest, survivors can definitely just outlast that exposed effect, unless it's a really good nurse and the survivor's right next to you, and when you pick up the survivor, you hook them within like 5 seconds. So it's not a very good perk. No Way Out is good effect, but it's a hex perk. It's just going to get broke. I think No Way Out would definitely be a lot better if it was the same effect, but on a 60-second cooldown, so you can use it maybe like once a chase, maybe once every 2 chases. I think that would definitely be a lot better rather than a hex. His third perk was again. Oh, what's his third perk? Oh no, wait, that was crowd control. This is No Way Out. It's a pretty bad perk. Basically, at the end of the game, assuming you've hooked everyone, you get the 40 seconds block exegates. That's not very good. End game perks are usually bad anyway. You're just preparing to fail. But overall, good chapter. Killer and his perks need to be worked on to become stronger. But other than that, I think everything about this seems fine. Happy with the boss, happy with the DS nerf. Killer has got potential to be fun for both sides and potential to be strong. So there's a lot to like here. There's a lot to like, and everyone seems to have a positive opinion on it. Even Scott seems to like it, except the Killer. So I think implement the changes I said, which obviously isn't going to happen, but something like that to make him more skill based and to make him stronger. And then this is going to be a good chapter. I would probably go back to playing Dead by Daylight regularly, if this comes the way it does. And also, if this new update fixes the performance, I've been getting a load of lag spikes. Every time I play Dead by Daylight, massive lag spikes. So that's just multiple reasons I haven't been playing it. But this chapter definitely is looking pretty good so far. Little bugs, decent stuff, and I'm pretty excited for it. Hopefully the devs just don't mess it up and end up toning down the Wraith buff or nerfing the Trickster. But I think this could definitely be good. I'll be getting that Rift video out soon, so thanks for watching.